Welcome to another episode of the Thursday Night Live with myself, Kimberly Hoarderish, and my co-host, Mr. Patdees 72.
We finally got what you do is you do the opposite. We finally got the windows right, and
I know it seemed to take us.
It took us 25 shows. Yeah, but we got it.
Yeah, we got it. So I have been kind of MIA from making live, so it might be a minute or two before notifications go out. We will bring our special guest in, who is Steve Pick and Roll, here shortly. He is in the green room backstage. Hi, Steve. I see you. Nobody else can.
Yeah. So since you're the host this week, if he's making faces, you could see that.
True. All right. Let's see who's already rolling in here. Myra, Elaine, hello. Anna Mora, hello. Steven Straight, Detector Steve. What's been going on, Pat? Like, I'm a little out of the loop here because I haven't been around on YouTube. I'm actually a little nervous tonight because of it.
And people don't realize that me and you work together all the time. And we've talked very little the last week.
Yeah, it's weird. It is weird. I've just been really busy. I'm trying to get ahead, especially going into fourth quarter. I'm trying to get ahead and the holiday season, really, because I'm getting more and more behind.
No,
rather than ahead. It's just like I told you the other day when we did chat. One of the things that we did, and we're doing this whole entire week, is if you enter a room, not only whatever mess do you clean it up, but you also leave the room cleaner than when you got there, which is actually a rule we apply to when going to other places, like to the park or fishing or whatever it is. We always try to leave the place a little cleaner than when we get there. So I've been doing that because it just seems like you pick up one cup and then blink and there's 5 more like already there. So it's we're trying to push forward and go forward.
Chris the Goose is giving us heck. We're interrupting the football game. Hey, I know it's the Eagles tonight.
I don't really actually. I mean, if we could not talk about football or mention the Broncos currently, our quarterback is nice to look at, but that's about all he's good for, folks.
Hey, I have a question. How is my audio? Because I'd gotten a Yeti microphone out of a unit I cleaned out last week. Do I sound okay? Or?
Yeah, I think it sounds great. Maybe the chat could let us know. Perla, what's up, pretty Perla? Greg is in here. Okay, are you playing the bongo drums?
That's my heart.
Yeah. That's all up in my ear. Your heart is.
Oh. I was going to play the drums for our guest to come in, but I didn't know what kind of beat he would like.
I see Don is here. Carlton.
Oh, he's rubbing it in, too.
Must be going out. Rumped up, Jamie. What's up, girl? Wild man. Oh, I'm so happy to see all you all. For real. It's weird to not watch many lives or to not see you all in the chat or even very much on social media. I set on my Instagram a timer to go off when I've hit 20 minutes of Instagram. I mean, that's how crunch for time I am. And I'm like scheduling how much time I can spend on each thing. So I missed y'all. I'm glad to see everybody.
I sound like Jumanji.
All right. So next week, before we bring Steve in, week we are taking a break. What episode is this? Are we on, Pat? 26?
26, yep.
So this is our 26th episode, and which I'm so proud of. That's so amazing. But we are going to take a little bit of a break. There's lots of really exciting things coming this holiday season, starting even in just this next month in October, one being our Halloween party or our Halloween double live, which I'm sure we'll get into at some point, a little mention of. But we're going to take a week off, and then it's going to go back to Pat. He will host, and then it starts the regular rotation of back and forth and back and forth and back and forth.
And I got Confirm Side Hustle Network. Chaz and Trista will both be here. That will be October the 10th. So the only thing is we're skipping a week.
Yeah, I need to catch up. Like I said, I'd rather get ahead than continue this being behind, and it's stressing me out and kind of causing havoc in my life, and I just don't. I gotta do something about it. So I need to get ahead rather than behind. I was gonna bring my chat up on my phone.
One thing before I forget, one thing I've realized that when people post emojis in the chat, you ever notice how they look so different than they do on the phone?
Mm-hmm.
But once they're processed, when the show's over and on the replay, the emojis show up right. So it must be something internally on their system.
All right, that seems to be a little better here. Sorry, folks. I'm trying a little new thing here, so I don't have to try to switch back and forth.
Do you want me to tell everybody who I am?
Sure. If you'd like to introduce yourself, I'll introduce myself, and then we can bring Steve in. So,
hey guys, I'm Patdees. My channel is Patdees72. I sell stuff on eBay. I sell stuff on Amazon. I even did some Instacart delivery today, Kimmy. Before I had 2 deliveries today, I did. And that's me. And I have a YouTube channel. And I think I dropped a video today on storage units. So, and you, young lady.
Thank you for introducing yourself, sir.
No
So I'm Kimmy. My channel is Borderline Hoarderish. I am a reseller, a mom of 2 children, and I live life with a pacemaker. And I'm happy to be here again. Yet another week with you, Patrick. Let's bring in our special guest. Now, I have known Steve. Our channels both started around the same time. So he's kind of an OG in my sort of YouTube live world. And man, he has so much knowledge about so many things that I do not, one being Amazon. And so I'm really excited for you guys to meet him, especially those who have not known him or haven't watched him yet. What's up, Steve? Welcome.
Hey, how are we doing?
Excellent. Thank you for being my special guest. It really is an honor to have you on my channel. I try really hard to be mindful of the people that we have, as our guests, because we do want to not only support those that are our special guests, because you are amazing, but also let those watching get to know you and basically, maybe teach or we learn something, about you, or reselling usually is kind of what we're geared towards, or just basically hustles of how do you make money.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for having me on. First of all, hello to everybody. My name is Steve. So,
hello, Steve.
Yeah.
This is my first time actually meeting Steve also. Yep. So
I know, right?
Just like the viewers.
His channel is down in the description. If somebody could start throwing out his link to his channel, one of the mods, that would be fabulous. But yes, you have not had a chance on a live to talk to Steve, right?
No, this is the first time.
Yep, first time.
Yep. And I kind of like that. I told Steve that we'll talk on the show, just get to know him just like the viewers would, and not come in with already knowing things. Actually, I have a quick question. What is your channel name? And why don't you explain exactly? You're a reseller, and what platforms you're selling on?
Okay, well, I sell on eBay, Poshmark, and Amazon. And all 3 I've been doing. I mean, you want me to go right into like how long and all that?
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
A little introduction.
Hey, Steve, you are the star tonight. If you want to talk 50 minutes of the show, this is why we're here. I just hope that you were happy with the catering tonight, and if not, that's Kimmy's fault because she's the host this week.
It was all right.
All right.
Okay. But yeah, so eBay, Poshmark, and Amazon. eBay, I've probably been doing about 6 years. Poshmark, almost a year, and eBay, and Amazon, almost a year. So it's kind of, to do all three is a lot of work. I mean, maybe I took on a little too much, but I kind of find how to balance it all, and it works for me.
Yeah, that seems kind of like a lot. Do you you just jumped into all three, or what actually even got you into reselling in the first place?
Okay. So when I first started eBay about 6 years ago, it was more of a selling excess from around the house type of situation, which is the way a lot of people actually start. So it was real casual. It wasn't, it was just basically, all right, let's get rid of all this. We have so much good stuff, especially that had two younger children. Kids go through toys so fast. Christmas, they get all these gifts and half of them they never even use or open. Clothes they grow out of so fast. So it's more of, instead of doing a yard sale, let's try to offload some of the stuff and make a little extra money at it. So it started that way. And then from doing that, I was basically just doing that on the side. And then I had a connection, and I still kind of get things from them where at the one point every month I would literally get, I'd say about 10 garbage bags full of clothing. And it was all like really high end, like stuff from Neiman Marcus type stuff, like really high end brands. And I was selling that. And that's what got me started going into more and more. I had never done thrift stores. 6 years ago when I started, up until like 2 years ago, I had never even stepped foot in a thrift store. So for 4 years of selling on eBay, I didn't have to go out sourcing. I was just getting all the stuff for free. Yeah.
That's amazing.
It was kind of like, it was coming to me. It was really simple.
It was meant to be, right? I see that Commonwealth Picker had a question. If you, Steve, are you part-time or would you consider yourself full-time reselling?
It's kind of in between both. I mean, this is all I do right now. I no longer work anywhere else, so as far as the only job I have, yeah, you could say it's full-time. So, yeah. Hello, Kevin.
Yeah.
Commonwealth Picker, Kevin.
Yeah, and hello.
So yeah, it's full-time.
Yeah, I don't. Sometimes, I've been asked that before, and I like to say that I don't like to say necessarily that it's full-time, because I'd rather be one of those only working. I really am trying to reorganize a lot of things to where I only eBay certain times of the week. I have scheduled out 45 listings to start blasting out tomorrow. Like when I say I want to get ahead of things, like I'm trying to go a week out so I don't have to stress or worry, and then to take the weekends off from listing, because I don't like that part. Why am I doing the part I don't like during the time I want to be free? Why am I not working smart? I'm working far harder than necessary. And I know that people are like, oh, just save your drafts and post it. Well, I don't know about y'all, but adulting, #parenthood gets in the way sometimes. And you forget to even do it. And so I'd rather just schedule out and pay the 10 cents per listing, for example, for eBay, and have the entire weekend, just all that money just rolling, going the whole time. So
that's an interesting approach.
I see Greg says, I will be fun employed in 2020. Yeah, you know what, Steve? Honestly, the schedule thing started because, and I know there's a lot of resellers who can relate into how we got into. I've had a few heart surgeries, and during those times, there's limitations, and then of course there's appointments and all. You understand, life. There's things that you got to do sometimes, and so it takes the pressure off on a day that I don't feel good, because tomorrow I don't know if my heart's going to be silly tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to feel that great. I'm not sure. I'd hope, and I'd like to be positive and think that's going to be a great day, but reality is we don't. I don't really know. And instead of waking up tomorrow and having this excuse, or like worried or stressed and making it worse for myself, I know that every hour from 8 a.m. until 10 p.m., there's a scheduled listing going out. And it cost me $1.20. Like, I'd say it's worth it. So maybe I will work tomorrow. Maybe I won't. But is there anything that because you said you sell on 3 platforms. Okay, I have a couple questions.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, to the chat, feel free to ask questions. Try to
There
put some
was
question
one
marks.
other question there. I don't know if you saw that. Real quick.
No, I'm not
Yeah, I'm
sure.
sorry.
It gets me all confused. Go ahead, ask it.
And yeah, people don't realize.
No, interrupt me if you need.
Douglas Harlos. So you're telling me you are a reseller, or do you just sell new items, Steve?
I sell everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I figured. But what happens is you have the viewers asking, hey, real quick, I want to thank Jackie and Sarah for dropping links to all of our channels in the room. I greatly appreciate it.
My Coco Queen.
We never ask the mods, or the people with wrenches too. But when they do that, we're very appreciative. So,
but yeah, as far as that question, yeah, like mostly everything I'm selling is, from thrift stores now.
Okay.
So don't need, new items, the once in a while in the thrift store where you do find an unopened new package, but for the most part, yeah, it's all reselling. I don't do any wholesale or RA.
Now, Steve, where are you from?
I'm originally from New York.
Okay, and where do you live now that you're buying from thrift stores?
Now I'm in Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Oh, okay. How long have you been in Florida?
Since 1997.
Oh, okay.
So 22
you've been
years.
there a long time. Yeah.
My
goal eventually is to go to Florida and live there half the year, be a snowbird, as I just can't stand the winters no more. You know how it is up here.
I think this is a. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Can you see the question? I'll read it out loud, Steve.
I see it.
But
yep.
Which platform do you make the most on or like the best? And I think that's actually a great question because I'm always curious.
And there's probably 2 answers to that. As far as which I like the best, I kind of like the Amazon way because it's all the work is up front.
So do you do FBA then, or do you do
FBA? Yep. Probably I've lifted a few MF merchant fulfilled items where you would do the shipping out yourself, but probably 95% of everything I do for Amazon is FBA. And I like that platform because all the work is up front. No matter what platform, the sourcing is the same process. Whether you go into thrift stores, whatever. So you're still sourcing your products. But then once you get to that point, if you're going to do FBA, that's where, the work comes. You don't have to do any photography. You don't have to create listings. All you do is just put your items into your Seller Central, pack them up, ship them out, and your work is done. Whereas eBay, you're still sourcing, so that's the same work. But then once you get home, you have to measure, document, photograph, list, store your items. And then when they sell, then you got to pull them, pack them, ship them. There's more work involved. So that upfront work for Amazon, it's so nice that when you just look at your phone and say, oh, look at your Amazon Seller Central. Oh, another sale came in. And you don't have to do a thing. That's right. For me, Amazon.
Just collect the money once a month.
I really wish that I would have stuck with it. I wish I would have stuck with the Amazon when I had started it back in January. I did it and then it petered out and I haven't jumped on it again. And I'm not really sure why. So Chris the Goose says, have not seen your videos. What categories or items do you specialize in, or any maybe preference of things? And you don't have to give obviously great detail, especially selling on Amazon. But that's a great question.
Amazon, I do probably 95% books. All books. That's my thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. For Amazon, the only things that I sell that I send in FBA that are not books are when I do come across items in the thrift stores that are not damaged and still sealed new, because you really can't send in damaged. Even if you find something in a thrift store that is sealed new, but the box is damaged, you can't send that in Amazon FBA. It'll get rejected. So, the rare occasion you find something in pristine packaging, unopened, that goes to Amazon. But other than that, my goal is I scan books. So I spend, when I go out, other than that, for eBay, I look for anything.
Well, how come, Steve, you're not upping your game and doing retail arbitrage as far as Amazon?
Nah, I'm not a fan of the RA process, the ROI. To me, I'm not knocking. Everybody's got their hustle, and everybody likes something different. So there's no put down to anybody. But for me personally, I don't like the ROI on it. I don't want to go to Walmart and spend $300 to make 200. Maybe I'm not educated enough on it, but I've seen videos where people do that, and they buy something for $5 in the clearance aisle or $8 in the clearance aisle, and it makes them their money back plus a few bucks. So for what you can spend at Walmart, $300 to get 30 of one item, if you go to a thrift store and you find if you spend $300 in a thrift store, you could have over $1,000 return. So I'm not really a fan of the whole RA thing.
Right. Yeah, I think that you thank you, Donatella, by the way, for sending the $4.99 super chat. Kimmy, because you're beautiful. Oh, I love you so much. Thank you.
Well, she could have put in there that I was beautiful too, and you can keep the money.
Pat, you're so funny. Yeah, I appreciate. I did not mention about the super chats, but I just recently got monetized, and we have some ideas and giveaways. So any of that type of donations during our shows, just know that it's going to a good place for future. I'm hoping, like Halloween being one of them. We're going to start trying to do more giveaways more often through our shows, because I know people love giveaways. I lost my train of thought there for a second. The super chat threw me off. It made me happy. Thank you. And hello, little mama stalker. Back to what I know Steve was saying about his preference. I don't think there's anything wrong with with your opinion on how you do things. It's like, first off, everybody needs to do what's best for them. So that's what's most important. Mm-hmm. And people some people are numbers people and they like to do things a certain way, or some people like the thrill and the hunt of going to the thrift stores. I think it's something for me that will never go away, because I've been doing it my whole entire life. So I don't see, for me personally, ever steering to, maybe one day I won't be reselling as much, but I think I'll always have that sort of drive because I've had it for so long. I was going to ask and I meant to ask this earlier, how did you come up with your name, Pick and Roll?
Okay.
It's such a catchy little name.
Pick is obvious, picker, flipper, that's what's a term in the reselling community. So that was that. And then the roll, because I'm in a wheelchair, I use a wheelchair to get around. So, and then it's kind of like also a sports term, and I'm big into sports. So it kind of fit different ways. And, so I came up with it's one of, honestly, the reasons I really think that you're amazing, Steve, and just kind of inspired by you that you make sure to not let much stop you and do your thing. And I think that there's a lot of people, resellers, that there's a reason kind of why they fall into the reselling. And so it's always inspiring to me to see people doing their thing, no matter what. Oh yeah.
And you said something about sports. So sports as in football? What kind of sports are you into?
Well, as a fan, baseball, football, those are the main ones. I played baseball my whole life before I got hurt. I played from when I was a kid up through high school, college, and then I played semi-pro down in Florida.
Hey, Steve, you don't have YouTube pulled up, right, buddy?
No, sir.
Okay, because someone wants to subscribe to your channel, so we're just gonna make sure the link is in there. Donatella, we'll post a link in the chat if you can and then what happens is, Steve, and this is for you, if you ever do shows in the future, is if you talk in the chat, they click on those 3 dots to the right, and they're able to click on those dots without leaving the show.
Okay, you want me to pull it up?
Right. So Treasure Hustlers, Jackie and Sarah, who are great mods in room and really good supporters of many channels, they posted your link. So if anybody wants to subscribe to Steve, and if you're watching this on the replay, it'll even be in the description below. You can click on that link right there. And if you do it now, just make sure you come back to the show.
You want me to open up YouTube and have it that way?
No. Well, that's all right. I want to explain it for you also, buddy. Right. This way, when you're doing stuff in the future, you kind of understand how it works and the process. And you want to encourage people to. This is the first time I've met you. I'll be honest. I didn't know you were in a wheelchair, so I give you a lot of props on not just sitting around the house wanting to make money and get out there and do things. So that's great.
Yeah, that's always how I've been, even before I got hurt. I guess you could say like a type A personality, because I was so, into sports. So I always had that aggressive attitude. And once I got hurt, once I went through all my therapies and this and that, and I'm not the type to just, to me, this is like my new normal, you could say. So it's not even a thought about it. I don't go, I'm in a wheelchair. Like if you watch all my videos, I have like just over 100 videos on my channel now. And I think I've shown the chair like once you could see it. Sometimes you'll see it like me with the control, or I'll mention, I can't reach that because I was in the chair. But to me, it's like it's not really even though it's a big part of me, I don't make it part of me.
Yeah, it's not holding you back.
Right. I don't live as like I'm in it. I just live like anybody else. I'm just sitting down when I go around instead of standing up. And it doesn't, there's very few things I can't do.
Right.
I love that. I love that. The way of thinking. I try to do that. I'm like that too. I don't, in a way, I don't know what it is, but there's something about, it's like, for example, having a pacemaker. I always sometimes feel that people kind of, the first reaction is, you're so young, or, I'm so sorry. Well, don't be sorry for me. Like, I'm living because of it, and there are limitations, some limitations, but I'm not sorry that I'm alive. I'm not sorry. I mean, honestly, I think I have a different kind of view on life because of the things that have sort of happened. So I don't have any regrets, and it just shows no excuses. No excuses.
No. I mean, at the beginning, of course, it was tough because I was a different person. My life was working out, swimming, biking. I was very athletic and always at the gym, and to go all that. Now all of a sudden you get hurt and you're in a wheelchair. It was like, whoa, it was a whole different way of living. But once I got through that initial and learned to, do everything, then to me, I'm just back to normal. Right. I actually, I noticed, not that I'm stalking you or anything, but we became friends on Facebook. I noticed that you had a prior job with I'll just say a security company, and my dad actually works for that same company still to this day, and he has for 30. Gosh, I think it's 30 years now that he's worked there. So he's in I don't want to go into great detail about it just because I try to keep some of my family out of the tube part of things. But so yeah, I meant to tell you that you guys both worked for the same company for a long time. I worked for them for like 15, 16 years when I got hurt. I had worked for them in New York, and then I transferred down, and I was in Atlanta for like 2 years, and then I transferred down here to Florida, and I worked for them for like 4 or 5 years down here. Yeah. So I stayed with the company as I moved, and it was a great company, and it was, I had a good position. So, but
yeah, once I got hurt, I couldn't do that anymore. Yeah, were you a installer? Because I know that they have to like or
Well, when I started,
and
then I was just a troubleshooter.
mm,
So I would go out, if someone had a false alarm in their business or a home or banks or, I worked all kinds of places. I would go out and I'd have to figure out what caused it and determine and fix it if it needed to be.
I bet those skills, those people skills that you acquired through doing things like that, you probably still use. I'm sure even in out and about sourcing. You said that you go to thrift stores, right?
Yeah.
Do you do yard sales too, right? Yeah, I think I've seen. Oh no,
Yeah.
estate sales. That's what I think I saw you were doing.
Well, I've only really been to
video.
one or two estate sales. Yard sales, down here in Florida, at least where I am, they haven't been so great. The winter now coming up is more of the season for yard sales than summer. We're kind of opposite than everybody else. So once we get into like November, December, January, February, that's the best time for yard sales down here because that's the best weather we have.
Right. It's not real hot too, right?
Yeah, it's not
So
hot.
you don't have that humidity where people just don't want to be outside, right?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Absolutely. The ones that are going on now, they all advertise. They start at like 7 and they end by noon.
Right.
Because it's just so humid. And plus it's rainy season, it's hurricane season.
Right.
We have one more month of that. So the chances of rain all the time makes it hard for people to actually want to, do it.
Mm-hmm. I know that there is a couple questions. I'm trying to get them while we're on the topic of Florida. Aaron Marcus just asked what part of Florida. He says, I'm originally from West Palm Beach.
I'm in Fort Lauderdale.
And I know Donatella is somewhere down in that.
She's
area.
down there, West Palm, Palm Beach.
And then Fat Man the Flipper, Alex.
Is in Miami.
Yep.
I don't know how far away. I guess I don't realize how far away everything is.
I'm like 20 miles north of Miami.
Okay,
30 miles max.
Yeah,
Depends
I flew into Fort Lauderdale and then drove to the Florida Keys. And that's the only part or only time I went there. It was before my heart surgeries. And unfortunately, my heart must really love the high altitude here because at lower elevations, it messed me up and I was very sick. So I'd love to go back to Florida, though, now that my heart is a lot better because it's beautiful. Like the ocean is way different than West Coast. Way different. It looks well, not way different, but it's a teal. Like it's
it's
greener.
Beautiful here. I mean, I'm 3 miles from the beach and the water is, certain times a year, with the storms out in the ocean and it gets cloudy. But when it's nice and it's calm, you can like stand in Chesney, and you see your feet. It's really nice.
Now, Donatella just posted she's having a real reseller meetup. Would love for you to come. Do you know Donatella, Steve?
I've seen her. We never communicated, but I have seen her on.
Yeah, she buys a lot of storage units, and she lives down there in Palm Beach Gardens. And
she's a good person.
She's originally Steve. She's originally up our way. She was from Boston.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, very sweet lady. So Douglas says, what apps do you use to scan books, and how does it work? I don't know if you can answer the whole entire thing.
Yeah. That's real simple. I use an app called Scout IQ. It's a paid subscription, and what it does is that you can upload it every morning, and it refreshes, and it basically takes the inventory of Amazon. So it gives you exactly what the books, what inventory is in stock, what they're selling for, and so forth. And that's on your cell phone, and then you use your scanner. Like I have a Bluetooth scanner right here, and you just scan your barcodes on the book. And the Scout IQ app gives you all the data you need to know to whether it does all the work for you. It's almost like a no-brainer.
That sounds good.
There is some data that you have to scrutinize, but for the most part, it tells you what rank the book is at. It tells you what it's selling for. It tells you, you put in your buy cost. Like I would set it at $1 because most of the books where I get are $1. So it'll take your book, your cost. It'll take Amazon fees into account, and it'll, calculate all that. And it tells you to reject or accept the book you just scanned, and it'll tell you what your profit is on that book. So you can scan a book, it'll tell you accept that if you buy this book and you send it to Amazon FBA, you're going to make X amount of dollars on it when it sells. And you can tell by the rank and by what they have is called an E-score, and it goes from 0 to 151 plus. And what it does is the E-score is telling you how many days out of 180 that book has sold. So the top score is 151 plus. And basically that means is the book you just scanned sells practically every day. And it could be multiple times that day. So that means that's a book that once it hits the Amazon warehouse, it's probably going to sell, if not instantly, within a day or two. And so it goes by that. So if you get a E-score of 6, well, then that book only sells once a month. If you get a E-score of 18, it's going to sell 3 times a month because it's going by a basis of 180 days. So it does all the work.
I need to be taking notes.
Yeah, it's real good, and you do have to do a lot of scanning. I mean, I've scanned up to 1,000 books in one store at a time.
Wow.
Yeah.
How long did that take you?
3 to 4 hours. Average stores, like there's a lot of thrift stores near me, but I source most of the books I pull from two stores and then a couple of libraries near me. And I typically scan 300-400 books at the store each time I go. And I'll leave with anywhere from 5 to 15. So
are you seeing a lot of competition down there? Or?
Book-wise, no. When I go to library sales, I do see other scanners there. There's down here, we don't have any big library sales. Like the smaller local libraries will have a sale like every couple of months, every few months. And it might be like in a little conference room or something where it's like 10 tables and there'll be 3-4 other scanners there. I never run into them in the bookstores, at least the 2 I go to where I get my books. I've never seen any other scanners. And there's smaller thrift stores that are local ones. One supports like a food pantry and another one supports HIV testing or something like that. So they're smaller thrifts, but they have a really good book section that they're constantly putting on new books, and it's always quality books. So that's why just between those 2 stores, I can get enough to build a shipment every week, and that's really profitable.
Is that what you try to shoot for? Is to do one a week box? I don't know how many books is in one box. I guess it probably depends on the size of the book.
You can only go up to 50 pounds.
Right. But you can send, multiple boxes, but you just can't have that max out. But right now I'm at the point where when I first started out, like I would send in 100 books in a shipment, 120 books in a shipment, but it was too much work for me. Like it was taking me hours to process the whole thing, putting it into Seller Central, read barcode and everything, packing it. So now I do shipments of 30 books. It makes one book, and I use like a Lowe's small or a Home Depot small box. And so I use one box, 30 labels, and it makes it, manageable, and it takes me under 2 hours to do it from start to finish. But for me, scanning books, like I can pull between like 50 to 70 books in a week is like a good week for me from the stores that I go to without having to drive far and really kill myself. Because I also do the Amazon the eBay and Poshmark thing. So I kind of like, I don't put every day into books or every day, I kind of mix it and match it. So.
Right. I see that Alex Storage Stalker sent a super chat 189 from Storage Stalker. Congratulations on super chat milestone. Thank you, Alex. Special shout out to you and your beautiful wife, Liz, and all of your, as I call them, littles, all the littles. Thank you for that. It's awesome. I see that Donna Tella said, let's keep in touch. I'll give you my books that you find in a storage unit. So yeah, make sure she is on, I know that she's on multiple platforms too. So Instagram and then.
That's very nice.
Yeah, that is very, very sweet. Well, I mean, Donna, she likes to do those donations from the storage units already, which actually reminds me, it's so I appreciate. Well, Donna's just a sweet lady, but her whole video that she has right when you kind of go onto her page about donating has inspired my children and I to get back into donating bigger amounts. Now we do donate to the homeless a couple times a year. There's this event that's thrown on by actually a bunch of realtors who rent out a house, fill it with stuff for the homeless, food and all kinds of things, and the line is always so long. It's kind of a small amount of time that they do it. I love it. I have volunteered, a few times, and I even used to, when I was an extreme couponer, make bags of food for those in need. And actually, I dropped it on their porch, their front step, and just knocked and left. But we're going to, this coming holiday season, we've decided we're going to make 25 homeless bags because of the fact that we've started getting into storage units. And I have all these wonderful, almost brand new items that I know somebody else could use. And I already made back my money and then some on the unit. And I've only listed like, I think 4 or 5 things from it. And so, yeah, special shout out to you, Donna, for kind of inspiring me and re-sparking that sort of fire in us to give back to the community. I mean, we're getting stuff in such bulk that I think it's awesome. So that's very sweet of her to give you the books.
Yeah, I would pay for them, no problem. I don't like people taking from people. So
I always feel like that too. Like I'm horrible sometimes.
She's getting them from storage units, so her cost is very little. And right. Don't be afraid to you just say thank you. And there's certain books that you can't sell online. Maybe you could donate them to the library, or one day have a yard sale. You sell them $1 a piece, and don't turn down people's generosity and kindness. There's nothing wrong with that.
Just how I am.
I get it.
I mean, when I'm coming down in Florida, I might swing by. I want a cheeseburger from you, Steve.
There you go. I'll take you.
Treasure Hustler says that's something Sarah and I want to do or start. I figure instead of just redonating it all back to Goodwill, that we would do that. I don't really have any good rhyme and reason not to. And every year we try to do something for somebody, else. So my son was all about it and really inspired by Donna's giving, and also the fact that he's like, seeing how many toys he kind of has. We've been purging in our house, and it got him to be, I don't know, I guess more appreciative of everything that he kind of has, knowing that there's quite a lot of people who don't have all of those things. So, and then add on top of it all of the storage AA meeting folks, the Auctions Anonymous in there, Restorage the Love, was also a little bit of a spark in Braden, my son, to want to give back, because he wants to go on a bigger scale of things and go beyond the clothes and start picking up furniture, because he knows that mom's handy and can fix things. Mm-hmm. All you need is duct tape and Gorilla Glue. I'm just kidding. I wouldn't do that if I was going to help somebody out, but he wants to actually help children in need and give them like a whole sort of room makeover of some more custom items. So I thought that was cool. Nice. I love it when, you see your kids start to do good. You feel all proud.
I see everybody saying how they don't like to donate to Goodwill. I'm kind of the same way. That's why I even like going when I'm thrifting. My 3 favorite stores near here. One, like I said, has a food pantry like half the building, which gives food to like sick and homeless people. So I like to go. I'd rather spend my money there than Goodwill. There's another one there's a town near here it's a very large gay community, kind of like San Francisco would have in Fort Lauderdale, and they have a thrift store they do like free HIV testing there and so forth, and the thrift store supports that. So I'll spend my money there. And there's a third one that is a drug rehab place where they take people in. They have like dormitories there, and I guess once they hit a certain level, that they work the store and they help them through treatment. So I'd rather go to those places than Goodwill, because I talked to some of the workers at Goodwill who give me a lot of information about the type of things that go on behind the doors, and
Yeah, and
I'm sure
supporting huge salaries that people live in. I know even on a local level, I see $200,000 salaries even on just a local level. I'm not talking about the big corporate level.
Yeah. I mean, the lady that works there, just because I do a lot of books, and she knows there's one woman every Monday morning, she's out there with the bins, pulling the old ones off the shelf, putting the new inventory out for books. And, we talk, and she's like, oh, I'll tell you this and that. And they basically, when they get their donations for books, they do kind of like what I do with that app. I don't know which one they use. I guess Goodwill has their own, built-in system. And they scan books in the back, and it's the same situation. If it's a profitable book, it doesn't hit the shelves in the store.
Yeah,
it gets boxed up, shipped out, and they sell them on Amazon themselves.
Oh, they're doing that. I know they have shopgoodwill.com, but I didn't know they were actually sending them into Amazon.
Yeah, that's what she said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's like,
do you have a way that do you just, any of the books you pick up, you pretty much, it's all already for Amazon, or do you sell your books on any of eBay? I mean, do you have a way to sort of sort? Obviously, you already said that the books on Amazon have to be pretty much pristine, right?
No. Books, no? Only items that go to Amazon, like toys or, packaged items. Those packages but books have different conditions. You can send in a book that has, a folded open jacket and highlighting and writing in it. People still buy those books.
Mm-hmm.
There's just different conditioning gradings you have to go. There's acceptable, good, very good, like new. You don't ever sell new. So you can send books, unless it's like water damaged, condition. There's different conditions you can send in. That's not a problem.
Yeah,
I do.
Steve, do you try to set yourself a goal? Like, I want to sell 5 to 8 books a week, or
no, I just kind of, I kind of go by however I'm feeling. I don't put pressure on myself to, I'll go out sourcing. Like today I went sourcing, I went to a Goodwill, and on the way back I stopped at the library, and the library only gave, from what I scanned, 5 books, so I put that to my pile. Tomorrow I'm going out again, and I don't, with books, it's tough to get a goal how many you're going to find, because I've scanned 800 books and found one.
Right.
Or another day I'll say scan 200 and find 20 that are good. You just never know. So I just put them and I, on the side, and at the end of the week, if I have enough, I build a shipment and send it in.
Yeah.
And they sell as they, there's different by your rankings in eScore. Some books I sent in, like, just today and yesterday, I've sent in like back in February, and they're selling now. And then an hour later, a book will sell that I sent in 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So you start getting, once you keep sending in all the time, you get overlays of these books that are going to be selling at different time periods based on their rankings and how often they sell. And that's where you start to get your multiple sales every day. So, I do have, on average right now, I probably sell 2 to 5 books every day. I get a sale on Amazon.
Oh, really? 2 to 5 a day?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. How many books do you have? If you don't mind, you don't have to tell me if you don't want to. How many books do you have in inventory right now?
I think active right now it's like 400 and something.
Wow, that's good though.
Yeah.
I was thinking he was going to say thousands or something. No, that's great. That sounds.
Well, because they sell.
And to have 400 and sell well, and that's what I think the advantage of having that Scout IQ is, taking a lot of the guesswork out of. That was my frustration. I sent books in the beginning. And I haven't sent books in now in months. I sent other products in because just came, like you said, you could be there for 3 hours, scan 600 books, and have nothing. I just don't have 3 hours to, to sit there. It's bad enough now. The Goodwill becomes impatient with me sometimes if they see I have my cell phone out, then they're asking me, "Are you filming?" or this and that, because with us doing YouTube and stuff like that, sometimes that becomes part of the trip. Now, do you sell more on Amazon than you do eBay?
Well, it's close, because like right now, say I'm selling about 75 books a month. A good month I'll sell 100. A slow month I'll sell 50 or 60.
Yeah.
It's low. My books right now, sales are lowering because I've been sending in less books that are higher profit. So I'm doing less work for this, more or same money. But on eBay, right now I only run a basic store. So I have a 250 item limit. I might ramp up to go to the next level to 1,000 item store. But right now I prefer to stay, and I keep my store right at 250 items, and every day I'll get a couple of sales. And I'll just add a couple more in, and a couple of sales and a couple more in. And I try to, I'm trying different ways. When I first, 2 years ago, when I was really started doing the thrifting part of eBay, I would sell the t-shirts and the baseball hats that would only sell for $12, where you would make, a couple of bucks on it. And for the past, I'd say this year, I kind of started going away from that model and trying to find more items that I would make net at least $20 per sale. So where you're doing less work and making the same or more money. So that's kind of, that's why when I go to the thrift store, I could easily come home with 10, 20 things, but I only come home with 2, 3, 4 items because I'm looking for those bigger profit items. But for at the 250 item store, that works out. Now, of course, if I decide to ramp up to the 1,000 store, the premium store, then I need a lot of inventory. And then where you're going to get 10 sales a day, and it's okay to do those kind of lower numbers and higher volume. But with getting a couple of sales a day, I'll stick with the higher profit items, It's kind of like
I don't blame it. I'd rather get I try to do, when I list, it's not necessarily an amount that I'm trying to list per day. I'm trying to list a certain dollar amount per day is what I try to strive for. And it really has me focused on going for items. Like, I almost see it as a challenge, like, in finding an item that would cover 5 hours of, what I would get paid maybe at a regular job, or even when I was in the restaurant, business. So I look forward to trying to, list things like that. Like I've been listing clothes lately because the storage unit that I picked up has a lot of clothes. But it has a lot of jackets, and those are doing well. There's good money in jackets. 'Tis the season, folks. I mean, of course, it has to have a good name on it. I don't, because it's such a kind of a pain to list a jacket and all of its nooks and crannies and sizes and all that. I want to make it worth my time when I do it, because not being so used to selling or listing clothes, it takes me a lot longer to measure things than it probably does reseller Robo Beth, who has her tape measure around her neck, like ready to pull that thing out all quick. It takes me way longer to do all that than it does, I'm sure, somebody else. But it's worth it though when, like, for example, one of the listings that I listed, the auction is sitting at $150. Mine for one jacket. Mind you, I paid $40 for the unit. So I'm already 215 up. I have 2 auctions already with bids on them from I think it's 5 items I've listed. So I probably will be to at least close to 500 by this weekend, and I still have probably 100 things to list. So I can't give you all the details, everybody, because I have a video that's gonna come out, or else I would.
Steve, you follow football at all, bud?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we see in the chat they're busting my chops because they know I'm the Eagles fan, and since you get good luck because the Eagles have come back, so they're keeping me. That's why if you see me smiling and throwing the fist up,
I'm rooting for the Eagles tonight because I'm a Vikings fan, so I need Green Bay to lose.
Okay.
So I want Green Bay to lose.
Oh,
well,
okay.
I don't know about Vikings, so I mean, I'm not a Broncos fan, but I really have a thing against anything and everything that's Viking involved this week because my son has a school project and he chose he got to choose out of some, I don't know, modes of transportation or dwellings from Native American history, Vikings, like a whole bunch. He chose Vikings. His sister is always like gloating about how she's a Viking. Her dad is 6'7". The dude looks like a Viking, and she's also kind of very tall. But so the school project, y'all, I know you parents hear me and feel me out here. Is my son, who's 8, is building, or actually more like mom is building or trying to build a Viking warship, a dragon boat. That's what I'm dealing with every day. So anything involving Viking gives me a sour taste in my mouth. Sorry, Steve.
Hey, if you don't mind me answering a question I just saw.
Oh, shoot. Go ahead.
Reseller Robo asked if when I started, if I was in the negative with FBA. And yeah, that's what happens because when you first send it, I don't know how many shipments you've sent in so far, but they hold back money from your sales for returns and so forth. And then when you pack up your next shipment, so you send it, they're taking the money for your shipment out of your balance. And then between that and holding money back, you probably don't even get a payment. Or
and you have the store, right, Steve? The $40.
Yeah, the pro level.
Right.
And I switched. I didn't start with that though. I waited till I was selling more than 40 items a month, just because it was,
right. Yeah, and in case anybody that doesn't sell on Amazon, what he's saying is the initial investment of sending the product in may cost him $75 to ship it in to put it in Amazon's warehouse. So he's starting in the negative. And then once he's selling books and gets ahead of that, then the cash flow per month, then you get paid twice a month as long as you're selling enough product.
Right. They'll pay you every 2 weeks, but at the beginning, they hold back. They always hold back every month.
Especially certain items that have a high history of returns.
Yeah,
and they hold back a certain percentage. There's some items I sell, like I sold a $180 pair of Rocky boots, and they'll keep that, as a reserve for like sometimes 40, 45 days, which I don't care, to be honest, because I'm there to sell stuff. It's a learning curve with Amazon. I like you though. I like it in that aspect of once you send it in and it's selling, you're done. It's like, man, you'll be at the movie theater, and how many times a day do you look at your Amazon app to see if you sold anything?
The question is how many times an hour?
Exactly. I know. I'm constantly loaded. And then sometimes you'll be like, I didn't sell nothing today. And then right before bedtime, because it's like now it's 10 o'clock here, East Coast time, but we forget California's still up.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll be looking like, oh, wow, I sold $90 worth of stuff.
Yeah. It's awesome. And you don't have to go, all right, then how am I going to pack that up? Do I have the right size box? No worries.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I work with a young lady that is almost $1 million seller, and she's kind of educating me about because my goal of next year is to try to sell $100,000 across eBay and Amazon, and I think realistically I can do it. I mean, I'm probably at about 20,000, 22,000 this year. So, and that's not even really pushing. Now that I'm into buying storage units and understand retail arbitrage better, that I think I could push it. So it's nice to meet people like yourself that are doing it, and you've kind of given me more hope again to kind of look for books.
Yeah.
Have you ever gone to like like books once in a while, like Books A Million will have like a blowout sale. Have you ever gone to them or no?
No. I stick to the thrift stores and the library sale.
Okay.
The libraries, some of them have, like, the Friends of the Library have ongoing sales where they have like the book nook, or a couple of tables or a booth, and like today I went to one and no one mans it, and there's a bunch of shelves. You just go in and you just take what you want, and they're like 50 cents or $1, and you pay at the counter. And some libraries that don't have that, those are the ones that'll do like quarterly big sales. They'll just save up all their donations and do one large sale. So I do those in thrift stores only. And, like I said, I'm not ever going to be one of those guys that are sending in the truckload of books every month,
Right.
like a Reezy Resells or someone like that.
Right.
I just can't do that, And I don't, for me, it's okay. I'm not doing books to make a full-time living off just books,
Right.
but it's a very nice supplement to eBay and Poshmark. So with the balance of the three, now I could quit two and focus mainly on one, but I know unless I start traveling, farther than I do to really get books and kill myself for the books, that's what would have to be done.
Now, Steve, do you find it? You have you're in a wheelchair. You have a difficult time with transportation.
I drive.
You drive.
I drive. Yeah.
Okay, and I didn't want to be too sensitive.
No, hey, I told you, man. Don't worry about it. You can ask me anything.
Because people there was a question earlier in the chat. I think people are always curious. And again, I this is the first time I met you tonight, so I commend you for getting out there and doing the hustle. I think you should make maybe at the end of the year, maybe make a book video. How if you sold, for example, 1,500 books this year, I sold 1,500 books this year in a wheelchair, and say that show people that you can do it, and maybe then what you could do is screenshot some of the examples. You bought something for $1 and sold it for $30, and I think it's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, it's I don't find whether someone was standing next to me scanning or me in the chair, there's nothing that's the only thing I can't do, I can't reach that top shelf.
Yeah.
And I know I tell people I'll be in the thrift store and there's one, I'm 5'11", and even if I was standing up the one store I go to, even if I was standing up, you would have to reach up to get to the top shelf. So, and I know when I scan books, I'll sit there and I'll look across the titles, and after doing books for a year, I kind of know what sometimes I'll just spot scan by titles because what kind of categories and so forth are good, and I'll look up there and I'll be like, man, I know there's money up there, and I just can't get it, So once in a while, I'll bring my younger son with me, and he'll scan up there, and I'll just watch the phone. But I'd rather be able to scan 4 of the 5 shelves than none of the shelves. So I take what it is.
Now, do you go out, like you say to yourself, well, I'm going to go out. I go out 3 times a week, or there's no set structure or schedule to it?
Yeah, I don't try to really structure it like that. I kind of just go. I wake up in the morning. Like tomorrow, I know what thrift stores I'm going to go to. I'm going to go to, and my routine is enough for which stores are good for what kind of type of products. So I know one's good for clothing. I know one's good for books. I know this other one's good for books. I know this one's good for bags and shoes. So, it's like tomorrow I'm going to go to a thrift store that I'll stop at Goodwill. That's my routine always because there's one like 2 miles away. And I don't look at the clothes there because they're too high priced. So I look for any new goods, hard goods, and bags. That's my main thing at Goodwill.
Like the little bags like this?
Pocketbooks.
Oh, bags.
Handbags.
Yeah.
That's
handbags.
cool. Yeah.
I find the Goodwill near me has, if you look at my What Sold videos, I found many brands that I didn't know when I saw them, but I could tell it was a quality bag. And in the past year, I've learned so many things about bags because there's like a really wealthy community right here on the ocean. And these women must just donate their bags. I've bought many a handbag that I spent $5 to $10 on, and they've sold for $60, $70.
Right.
You know?
I wonder if a lot of people, Steve, moving to Florida, people start downsizing because you know yourself, up here in the Northeast, we have basements and attics. And you go down to Florida, and a lot of places don't even have attics.
No.
I was saying to my wife, man, if we buy a house down there, I almost got to buy 1 bedroom extra just to kind of really do eBay because you know where do you go with this stuff? So I wonder if that's part of the issue. That I know myself, there's people where I live that are seasonal, and when they're moving out, they don't even care anymore. It's just get rid of the stuff. And I think if that's part of the issue down there in Florida, that you know downsizing and they kind of don't even care anymore. They don't even sometimes remember what they paid for stuff.
Right. Yeah, it very well could be. I just know, like, over here between me and the ocean, there's like just thousands and thousands of $1 million homes,
Right,
all on the ocean, and they got something, and there's never any yard sales because they got so much money. They'll just donate it and buy new because you know.
right.
So I find, like, you know, such high end stuff, you know, to-me bags and stuff like that all the time.
Right.
You know.
Right. Do you so my YouTube name is borderline hoarderish. I almost am a hoarder if it comes to bags. I'm way better than I used to be. But reselling, and I would like to start reselling them. But the part that's held me back from doing that is, do you have issues with returns of it being like maybe, or do you get them authenticated, you know, or are you just well versed enough that you know what to look for? Do you have any kind of tips as a person who does not sell bags, who would like to sell bags, or even in the chat on maybe some spots to look for or something, or even a website to refer to? Because that's what I worry about, is people pulling, you know, them being fake. I have no idea. I don't know.
Canal Street bags. You know, but no, I find those knockoffs are basically going to come in your high end stuff, your Louis Vuitton, your Chanel, you know, bags like that and I see them in Goodwill all the time. And you know, so I don't know how they get away with even selling them, but there's a lot of brands that are below those that still resell for, you know, $50 to $100 range that you can get, and there's really no knockoffs for those that I've seen, you know. And when I do, like, I saw a Chanel bag in Goodwill last week or a couple of weeks ago, whatever, and I was looking at it and I was like, man, it feels good and it looks good, but I knew nothing about it. So right there on the spot, I just started Googling how to spot a fake Chanel bag, you know.
Brilliant.
And I put it, and I saw what it was, and I was filming, you know, my thrift run that day, and I put it into the video what I learned, so others, you know, watch my video, they would see it at the same time. And I learned by the way the intertwining C's overlap that, you know, the one bag I saw was fake, and I was fooled because it felt so good and it was stitching was so nice, but it was a fake.
Yeah.
See, I'm glad that you just even mentioned that on the field, because I think it probably, now that I'm thinking about it, sort of the same thing applies to the quality of clothes. I mean, when it comes to clothes, you know, just seeing what it's made of by looking at the tag, observing the buttons is another good way to tell, you know, sort of quality of things. But I don't know. We'll see if I jump on the getting rid of my bags. I already got rid of a bunch of my shoes, and it still hurts a little bit, y'all. It hurts me to get rid of so many shoes. But as a bargain hunter, it's so easy to come across all of those things for nothing.
I have a friend that the mother just passed away 2 years ago, and she openly contacted me and said, I found these purses and $2,000-$3,000 purses that when the mom had the money used to go and buy, and you know, now they're making a decision what to do. And I said, well, you know, you could sell them online, but you know, there's certain things that you got to do to protect yourself so someone doesn't say they didn't get it and things like that. And you know,
eBay has a authentication program, I believe. I never used it.
Yeah,
But
I think I heard that. I haven't tried it either.
Yeah, I haven't sold something that high end, but hey, I got some questions about when we didn't talk much about your YouTube channel, but when did you finally decide to, you know what, I'm gonna get on YouTube and start making videos about what you're doing?
I only started my channel. I think I created it like December, January this year.
Oh, okay.
So just coming into the new year, and basically because when I was watching videos, not of really of resellers, but when I started deciding I wanted to, I said maybe I saw one online that they were selling the books on Amazon, and that's how I learned to do it. I took the entire month of December, probably a little bit more, like say in November, all through December, and for one full month, I just watched videos on selling on Amazon. All the big, like the Reezy Resell, and there's a couple other big booksellers. And I watched hundreds of videos, and then I went on Amazon Seller Central. They have their Seller University, it's
Yeah,
called.
right.
And they have videos, and I read and for literally a month, I felt like I was in college. Like it was, and I just focused. I had pads every day, and I took notes, and I taught myself the whole process of how to sell books on Amazon. And then when someone would talk about Scout IQ, well, then I would research that app and see what that did, or other apps, and I taught myself. So once I did that, and I felt I had years of experience in reselling, I said, well, let me do something where I can help people trying to learn something. And that's the whole reason I made my channel. And if you look at my channel, I have one of my playlists is called eBay 101, eBay for beginners. And a lot of the videos are just real basic stuff, how to join the global shipping program, what boxes you need, what kind of supplies do you need for shipping, how to print a label, how to create a listing, like real basic stuff. Because there's a lot of resellers, and we all know, I see it in Facebook groups, and you see it on YouTube chats and comments. There are so many people out there saying, oh, I'm just starting, or I just got my first sale, or I want to start reselling. I see it on Facebook all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm like, well, let me, I learned from YouTube, so let me do something back and help people that are learning. So let me make videos about it. And that's why I did the basics, because you go on YouTube and you watch, any of us that have channels who have years of reselling experience, someone who's looking to learn how to do it, unfortunately, you're not going to learn. I mean, yes, you can learn brands. And I said it before, that you can learn the what of reselling, but you don't learn the how and the why. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So you can watch someone who went to the thrift store, come home and say, I bought this for $2. This is going to sell for $30. I bought this for $5. This is going to sell for $50. And you can learn, okay, that brand sells for that. But what made you choose that brand? How did you know that it was going to sell? So there's the how and the why. How did you go about the process? How do you do this? How do you do that? Why? Why do you do this? Why do you do that? And a lot of YouTubers, I don't feel they're doing that. We like to show the hauls and this and that, but as a new seller, you're jumping to D before A, B, and C.
Right. No, I agree 100%. I actually just opened up a new eBay store a couple weeks ago with the intentions of sort of sharing the knowledge of the things that I know better about listing, which is not books for sure. I do know that you have some really great videos on listing. What was that? Gosh, I should have found it before we went live. That one, I think it's about the books or the scanning or maybe listing it. It was a little while back though, like a couple.
He's got 18. I'm looking at right now. You got 18 videos under, and Treasure Hustlers pointed that out. That's why I went and looked. 18 videos on your eBay 101. So
yeah, isn't that awesome? That's awesome.
Yeah, Steve has created playlist yard sales, thrifting adventures, sourcing, selling books on Amazon. You got 21 in there. What sold? eBay 101, Poshmark. So he's got several playlists. So if you guys get a chance, go over there and please check out his channels.
He Mary Beth Steve is lightning fast getting books, and I know that I enjoy watching those when they try to teach. It's kind of hard to follow some people when they explain things, and Steve does a really good job. So for sure, you guys should go check out his channel if you're not already following him. So it is. Well, here it's 8:15. We need to get to wrapping up the show. I'm going to ask 5 more random questions. Don't think too hard about the answers, Steve. Don't be scared.
No, I'm never scared.
And then we are going to wrap up the show, let you all know what's kind of going on for the next week, and end the show.
Bring it on.
Yes. All right. First question is...
I plead the fifth.
That's hilarious. That's what I told him to say. If there was any questions he didn't want to answer, to say, I plead the fifth.
I'm joking. Go ahead. I'm ready for you.
Okay. Name a band you loved to listen to as a kid, or as I call them, a teeny bopper, a teenager.
Led Zeppelin.
All right, yeah. All right, and feel free to those in the chat to answer these as well.
For me, as a teenager, I like Def Leppard.
Yeah, they were good.
Yeah, it depended on what phase. I went through so many phases as a kid. I definitely had an identity crisis, I guess, because like at one moment I was goth, and the next moment I was like a rocker, and then the next, I mean, who knows, but. Somebody who I've always loved to listen to for a long time is actually Jewel. She's one of the most consistent people throughout my life that I've listened to. So back then I listened to her, and now I still listen to her. What was one of the first things you bought with your own money that you can remember? Probably as a kid.
Oh, geez.
Or at least one thing. One of the first things that maybe you bought with your own money that you were really excited about.
Probably a car when I was 16.
Yeah, car's a pretty big accomplishment.
Yeah.
It's funny that we were talking about music. I didn't grow up in a good house, so my dad would take my money. But I had a neighbor that said, "Pat, if you bring your money down, you can put it in my china cabinet." I saved up $75 and I bought a boombox.
There you go.
With a double cassette AM FM a boombox.
And they didn't say where'd you get that from?
No, not back then.
That's
used to
funny.
walk with that sometimes up on my shoulder.
I can see you doing that.
I have one of those sitting right here. I found it at a garage sale for $5, pristine, a little cassette player boombox.
I sell them on eBay. If I can find one that has remember the ones that had the little lights with the green and red and you could the little graphic equalizer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What's up, Harlan? By the way, just rolled in there. Everybody's giving him a hard time. So one of the first things that I remember buying, besides like candy, I lived not too far off from a Conoco, and I remember buying candy, but was the CD Ace of Base. I was so proud that I had saved up money to buy that CD just so I could listen to the I Saw the Sign. Yep.
I remember them. I Saw the Sign, yeah.
I saw the sign. Yeah, something like that. Myra says record player. And as for some of the songs or music, TLC. Yep, I remember TLC. Talking Heads, The Cars. All right, next question is, if you could be any superhero for one day, who would you be and why? Like maybe why the superpower, there's a reason why. So many superheroes out there, right? I mean, if you choose to be a villain, you're more than welcome to let us all know that too.
I'm already the Hulk, so I can't be nobody else. I turn green sometimes.
Superhero. I don't know, man. Aquaman.
Aquaman, there you go.
Hey Steve, she asks difficult questions sometimes.
I just like
say that.
I like them to be a little random, and I also think it's fun to kind of get to know our guests a little bit because
I like
we
the
talk
water
so
and
much.
the ocean.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. We live really close to the ocean. I'd say for me, well, it'd have to be like Wonder Woman, or I guess because of my wait, is Catwoman? She's not a superhero. She's a villain.
That's what I was
right?
gonna say, but
I can't. Well, I guess if I was a villain, then it'd be Catwoman.
Say that you want to be Catwoman?
Wonder Woman.
Well, I think YouTube established part of the Catwoman part. All right. Let's see. Donatello says Wonder Woman. Myra says Harley Quinn. I love Harley Quinn.
Treasure Hustlers, real quick, is asking Steve, what is your zodiac sign?
Virgo.
So you're born.
So your birthday's like right
End of
around
August.
now.
End of August. Okay, yeah.
Okay, so end of August. Sorry. Okay. Virgo. Yeah. Till the 20. So it just changed into the next one, right? Or something like that. I don't know. I can't keep track of that. I don't really know how much I believe in some of that because I don't think I am necessarily very
you can
similar to
apply
my
your
son.
personality to a lot of them.
Right.
I don't know.
Right. Okay. I'll ask the question that I love to ask almost every time. And if you answer incorrectly, I'm unsubbing from you. I'm just kidding. If you were
I guess
stuck
that means
on an
you're going to
island,
lose a sub too.
I know, right? Sub for sub. Okay, if you were stuck on an island and could only eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Cheeseburgers.
One
Wrong answer.
food?
Unsubbing from you. Yeah.
See, that's really.
So a lot of people say tacos. That's one thing. I was thinking a little further into it. And I always say potatoes. I really like potatoes. I like potatoes all kinds of ways. But I figured, I could regrow my potatoes and sell them maybe or trade them to some other islands and get a different type of food. So I chose potatoes. I'll be growing potatoes on my island.
You got to read the chat, Kimmy. I'm not saying that.
I would probably say pizza.
John Jones, you're very funny, sir. Very funny with your answer.
And Chris the Goose, it is not peanuts. It's cheeseburgers.
I love you all so much. Okay, I'm sorry. What is your answer, Steve?
Sicilian pizza.
Pizza. Oh, so specific. I'm not sure I've had that. So what's on that pizza?
Square. It's the square pizza.
Yeah, it's a thicker square.
Crust. Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. I thought it had certain
Sicilian
toppings.
No. We got to bring her up to New York.
I don't know nothing about pizza. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, unless it's from Pizza Hut or Domino's.
Yeah, that's not pizza.
Yeah,
Oh
I don't
God.
really think it's really that great anyways.
That's all.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
I'd rather have tacos and enchiladas, over pizza.
Even down here in Florida, there's a lot of Northerners down here. So we have a lot of good Italian, just like up north.
A friend of mine sold a pizzeria up here, and they moved down Florida, and they opened one.
Yep.
Sick. Okay.
But I just
guess
want to clarify, it's cheeseburgers.
You and your cheeseburgers. Okay. We're going to wrap up the show. What do you have? Do you have anything coming up this next week, Steve? Or maybe any videos or just whatever you're up to?
Well, tomorrow I have a new video coming out. I usually do 2 videos a week. Try to post them on Tuesday and Fridays. So I'm actually ahead of the game. I have 2 weeks already uploaded, ready to go. But tomorrow, a new one's coming out. And typically there's thrift runs where I'll take the camera to the store, go around the store. I'll show some cool items I find, maybe some overpriced, some damage, do a haul. Sometimes it's just items. Sometimes it's books. items, sometimes just books. So it's a little mix of everything. So I have one of those coming out tomorrow. Other than that, I'm just, sourcing and filming.
Awesome. Yeah, that's pretty much me too. What about you, Pat? What do you got going on? I know. What are you going to do without our show next week?
I don't know.
You gonna be lost?
I've been doing pre-recorded stuff. I put out 3 videos right now, probably a week. Storage lockers, trying to just get better into a pattern. I pulled back from doing as many lives, but I don't know. Sometimes I'm spontaneous. Sometimes if the mood hits me, and if I can get someone to join me for an hour, I'll do a video. But next week we are going to take a break, and I'll let you explain that.
So we're going to take a little bit of a break, or just 1 week, and then the rotation will go to Patdees 72. Make sure you're subscribed.
And Side Hustle Network will be the guest.
Yes,
and
which will be awesome.
Chaz and Trista will be on. If anyone follows them, I actually had the opportunity to meet Chaz a couple months ago. He came to Pennsylvania for like a Dirty Mud, or one of those runner events, and we met up in Pennsylvania and had dinner and stuff, and we had talked, and I asked him, hey, can you come on the show in the future? And as you know, me and Timmy plan these shows out a lot of times 6 weeks in advance, kind of what we're going to do. And
yes, we have a lot of really cool things. Is it called a Tough Mudder? I just thought of that. It's probably what it is.
Something like that.
Yeah. So when we come back, though, and the rotation will go back and forth, it won't be as confusing as it's kind of been for a minute. I'm really excited for some of the events that are coming up in the next few months. One being the live that we're doing on Halloween. We're doing an open door night. You have to wear a costume to be able to come live with us, and it's going to be fun. I'm excited. We're going to do a double feature. Well, basically on both of our channels for an hour. Mine and this fella, cheeseburger lover over here.
I'm gonna dress up like a cheeseburger.
Cheeseburger in paradise. Okay.
Poor Steve. Can I hurt your ear, Steve?
I do know that there will be the part 2 of my storage unit video, and I'm not sure what else. So just make sure to stay tuned, folks. Do you have a quote, Pat, to share, a good tip to the world as we leave?
Just be nice to one another.
Love and kindness.
We have the tendency to wait to that when Christmas rolls around. Why don't just be nice year round?
Very true. How about you, Steve? You got any quotes?
I'll give you a quote because I know you told me to be prepared with one. And it's from.
No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
It's from Babe Ruth. It's, you just can't beat the person who never gives up.
That's a good one. I appreciate you so much, Steve, for coming and hanging out with us and being my special guest. And of course, Pat, I appreciate you, sir, being my co-host tonight. And I am totally stoked about all that we have planned. I appreciate everybody in the chat. Thank you all for coming by, and those that stuck around and those that came by to just show love. I love you all. My quote is, a diamond is merely a lump of coal that did well under pressure. And on that note, we will catch you all next time.
Bye. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, no problem.
Hey, don't leave.